How to play fingerstyle or fingerpicking guitar, lesson 11. And as the name suggests, this is the continuation of a fingerpicking course. And if you haven't already been through the previous lessons, you can find the entire course on my YouTube channel in the playlists. Also, you can find the entire course at www.ebooksforguitar.com. and you'll find a short fingerpicking or fingerstyle course, and this lesson also appears in Year 1, Month 10, Week 1. And in both of those places you can see the ebooks online for free, so you can follow along with the tab. And in this lesson we're not moving on to anything new. We're going to consolidate the previous couple of lessons to make sure you can play everything really well. Right then, let's start with an exercise. Exercise 1. The first exercise is a finger picking pattern that's used quite commonly, and it's in 6/8 time, and the finger picking pattern is primary, index, middle, annular, middle, index. However, look at the exercise carefully when you're playing it, because the primary finger plays different basses, and it will alternate even if you're playing the same chord. And there's only 3 chords in this exercise, and they are D minor, C and F. And hopefully you can already play these chords quite well. But if not, there's a link to lessons just on these 3 chords down below in the description. So here it is demonstrated with a D minor, and I'm just showing the picking hand. Because this exercise is in 6/8 time, there'll be 6 beats in the bar, and I'll give a 2-bar introduction, just in case you want to play along with what's essentially the first line of the exercise repeated. Hopefully you'll recall we've looked at this technique in the past, and it's called alternating bass lines. Another thing to watch out for is the fact that there's 2 sets of repeats, and you'll remember what that means is, in this particular instance, you repeat the first half of the exercise twice, and then the second half of the exercise twice. However, initially I'll ignore the repeats just so we can get through the exercise, and then I'll put them in at the end. Right, here's exercise 1 without repeats, and I'll be playing with a metronome set at 70 beats per minute, 6/8 time. I'll give you a 2-bar introduction so you can play along if you want to. With people following this course on YouTube, I'm aware everyone's at different standards. However, if you're following this course and you are an absolute beginner, you'll notice that the finger picking won't be a problem at this speed. What might be a problem is getting between the chords. And with finger picking, the trick is to prioritize the fingers in the order you'll be playing them. On the tab here, I've marked off the first notes you'll play for each chord. And you can see the D minor is an open D string. However, the C is the 3rd fret on the A string, which is a C, and the F is the 3rd fret on the D string, which is an F. So when changing chords, you should prepare to play these notes first. So for example, if you go from the D minor to the C, the D minor root note, the first note you play, was open strings, so that's not a problem. But when you get to the C, you have to play the 3rd fret on the A string quite quickly. So you want to put that finger down before you put any of the other fingers down. And this will help you speed up the chord changes and play more fluently. And obviously, I'm using the D minor and the C as an example here because they're the first 2 chords. But the same rule applies to any chord changes you make. You want to try and get the first finger to be played down first. And this might take some practice. Here's that exercise again at 70 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction. Try and play along with it if you can. Here's exercise 1 again, with the metronome at 70 beats per minute and a 2-bar introduction. But this time I've included the repeats, so watch out for that. If you want to try this exercise a little bit faster, here it is at 80 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction, and the first time round with no repeats. Here it is again at 80 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction, but this time with the repeats. I use metronome beats in these tutorial videos so that you can follow along and play along with what I'm doing if you want to. And it's a good idea to practice with a metronome initially. Bearing this in mind, at the end of this video I've put some 6/8 time metronome beats at 70 beats per minute, 80 beats per minute, 100 beats per minute and 120 beats per minute. So you can use those to try and speed up if you want to. There's also lots of free metronomes available on virtually any device. You've just got to search your preferred app provider. With the tunes and exercises I'm teaching you here, once you've got them, I encourage you to then drop the metronome and play without it. And what you're looking for is, you don't want to sound like a robot just plonking the notes along. Don't be scared to speed up slightly and slow down and try to express emotion through the music. Because by doing this, you'll sound so much more professional and as if you've been playing a lot longer. Don't worry if you don't know how to do this, or you just don't understand what I'm talking about. We'll look at this in far more detail in a later lesson. Here's the exercise being played without a metronome. I'll be playing all the repeats, so I play the first 4 lines twice and then the second 4 lines twice. And I have no idea what speed I'm doing, but don't worry, you don't have to play along with it. Just get a feel for how it can sound and see if you can eventually copy that. Right, let's move on to the next exercise, which is a song. Susan's Song by Sad Fantasy. This tune is in 4/4 time, which means it's got 4 beats in the bar. And the finger picking pattern is primary, annular, middle, index. Primary, annular, middle, index. And any finger picking pattern that leads with the annular is a little bit harder, so you may need to practice the finger picking pattern first before you try putting the tune together. And again, this tune's got an alternating bass line, so the primary fingers kept quite busy. You may also have noticed that the first 4 lines are in repeat symbols, so you repeat the first 4 lines before continuing on to the end. Right, here's the entire tune being played at 80 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction. However, I don't expect you to try and play along with it yet. You just want to listen to the tune and hear how it goes. Hopefully you'll notice that the guitar is going a lot faster than the metronome, and this because the 4/4 time beat is 4 crotchets. But in this tune you're playing quavers, which means you're putting a note between the beats as well as on the beats. So for every 4 beats of the metronome you're playing 8 notes. Also in this tune, the bass line alternates throughout the tune, and there's 2 bass notes per bar. So the bass line more or less picks out a tune. To get used to the finger picking pattern, it's a good idea just to take the first bar and play it over and over again until you're comfortable with it. Here's the first bar repeated 8 times with a metronome at 70 beats per minute and a 2-bar introduction. Right, let's play that again at 80 beats per minute, and if you can, play along with it. Before we go any further, I'll just point out that this tune is only made up of 5 chords. We've got an A minor, a D minor, a C, a G7 and an E major. If there's any of these chords you're not familiar with, I've put a link down below in the description to each chord individually. Right, let's try the first line at 70 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction. Right, let's do that again at the same speed with a 2-bar introduction. If you look at the first 2 lines of the tab, you'll notice the second line is identical to the first line, except it's missing just a couple of notes off the end. So if you can play the first line, you'll be able to play the second line. So let's try the first 2 lines now at 70 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction. If you're finding you can play the first 2 bars easy enough, let's try it at 80 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction. But if not, just practice it for a while before moving on. Once you've got the first two lines, you've got the vast majority of the tune, because line 5 and most of line 6 are the same thing again. So we only have a little section in the middle that's completely different. So let's look at that now, and we'll play line 3 at 70 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction. Right, let's play that again at 70 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction. Line 4 is more or less identical to line 3, except for the last bar. So it should be relatively easy to play once you've learnt to play line 3. So here's line 4 at 70 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction. And here that is again. Right, let's bring line 3 and line 4 together at 70 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction. If you got that fairly well, then let's try it again at 80 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction. If you can play the elements we've looked at so far, line 1, 2, 3 and 4, you should have pretty much got the whole tune, as those elements exist in the last 3 lines. So you could try the whole thing all the way through at 70 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction. However, if you're not ready to play along, don't worry about it, just go away and practice it, or practice it with a metronome. And then you can try it in the future when you feel more confident. So here's the tune right the way through without repeats at 70 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction. And here that is again. If you are happy with the way you played that, let's try it at 80 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction. And here that is again. If you're feeling brave, or when you're ready, here's the tune with repeats at 100 beats per minute, and the usual 2-bar introduction. Once you're reasonably happy with this tune, it's a good idea to drop the metronome and play it like we played the first exercise in a more open time style. And you can then speed up and slow down and create louder passages and quieter passages, etc. And just experiment with the emotions of the tune. We'll look at this in far more detail in a later lesson. However, it's a good idea for you to start playing with that now, as it's one of those things that's better learnt through personal discovery. You've probably noticed, as we've gone through the tune, we've ignored a symbol. And that symbol is a pause symbol. And what it means is you reach that point in the music and you pause just enough time to take a breath and then continue. And the reason I didn't bring this up earlier is because you can't pause the metronome beats. But when you're playing this tune without the metronome, you should pause for a moment at this point in the tune. Right, that's it for today's lesson. And because there's metronome beats at the end of this video, I'll sign out now. Thank you very much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please like and subscribe, and then you'll be notified when I upload new lessons. And if you're impatient, there's lots more lessons on my YouTube channel and at www.ebooks4guitar.com. Thank you very much for watching.